Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Eternal Grind with me, Keith, the Tristero Watabayashi for Numot Gaming. And today we have a bit of a brew that I'm still working on, but I thought I'd show you my progress on it and see if we can't make a sweet video. So we're playing Xenan, and this is a Xenan mid-range-ish Lifeforce deck. Lifeforce, if you're not familiar with it, is a keyword that some cards have that give you a benefit if you gain life. It's a popular, it was a popular strategy in draft early on when Omens first came out. Now it's a little hard to piece it together, like all synergy-based strategies in Eternal. And it hasn't really made any influence to the constructed meta. It hasn't really caught on, even though it has some really powerful cards in it. So I always like to mess around with it just to kind of see. And this one's been doing pretty well, and I want to see if it can get me to Masters. So what is the idea behind this deck is you want to play essentially a strong Xenan curve with Blistering Wasp, Temple Scribe, Ion the Abductor, Sandstorm Titan, Predatory Carnosaur, and Vara, backed up with the traditional strong Xenan removal like Banish and Death Strike, Vara's Favor, which is also removal. And then you have a side theme, which is Life Force, which is really paid off with cards like Katra and Beckoning Lumen, otherwise known as Becky, and Slime Spitter Slug. If you watch Sir Rhino stream at all, he talks about this card a lot. It's really cool, really powerful, and it is. This card could make a bigger push in Constructed. You'll see during the games, this card can swing boards hugely in your favor. It can be really good 2-for-1. It's just a great card. So the main payoffs in this deck for Life Force are Katra and Becky. So why do we want to do this? The main thing is you want to play a tempo good unit deck with Xenan. And then Katra and Becky support that strategy by Katra being a continual way to make your units bigger, and Becky with making sure you don't run out of cards, always having that card draw. The two main problems that tempo decks have in Eternal are your units becoming outclassed as the game goes on and becoming more irrelevant, and you running out of cards as the game goes on. And these are two cards that could conceivably solve both those problems. Now, why would you want to do something like this in Xenan as opposed to a different strategy like Chalice or Argenport or Rakano or something like that? And there's three main reasons. And the number one reason, by far, is the surprise factor. Eternal is still a young game, and the meta is still evolving, even among the established players. There's basically such a small community for so many cards. A lot of strategies haven't been exploited or really developed. So if you can get a leg up in a undeveloped strategy, you can win a lot of games and you can have a strong run before people adjust, or you try to see the flaws in the deck. And if the deck is strong and doesn't have a lot of flaws, you can go on a really long run, which is what you always want to try to do with brews. So the main reason is the surprise factor. A lot of people are going to be caught off guard by the interaction with Katra and things like Vara's Favor or Beckoning Lumen and things like Extract. Not that they're unknown cards, but you don't see them in Constructed, and you can see games where the opponent's gonna answer things like Sandstorm Titan, or Carnosaur with Annihilates and Vanquish, so that you actually might get a chance to stick a Katra or stick a Beckoning Lumen and really get that incremental advantage. So you really have a leg up on how the gameplay will go, because you know what's going to come from your deck and your opponent might not. That's the main reason to play a deck like this. The second main reason is, unlike Chalice or even like Rakano or Argenport to a certain extent, you are really strong individually and you play pretty strong off the top. Aside from things like Tavrod or Icaria, or a Warcried unit, Argenport and Rakano really have kind of small units that need a lot of time and support to do a lot of damage. The main reason those decks are so good is because they can support their units really quickly out the gate. I mean, when you're playing strong 2-drops into a strong 3-drop weapon, then it's really hard to come back from and easy to fall behind that kind of a strong strategy. But when you get into a more mid to late game, A top deck Bart isn't very impressive if the game is at parity or you're behind. Whereas pretty much any unit you top deck in this deck is going to be really strong, with the exception of Blistering Wasp. But even then, it's a really decent blocker that can get you back in the game, and it has flying, so it can get in for a few points of damage. Everything else in this deck is a very strong top deck. Temple Scribe, Iron, Katra just has a 3/3 for 4 is strong. That can get stronger by every other top deck. Titan, of course. Becking Luma's got great stats. Carnosaur, Slug, Vara, all great top decks. So you have the opportunity to really win top deck wars just on the sheer individual strength of your units. And you don't have to rely so much on your 2-drop into a 3-drop, with all these things coming together. You just have individually strong cards that, if your opponent can't answer very well, also happen to work very well together, which is a great reason to play a deck like this that has some synergy and a lot of power. And the last reason is the synergy itself. Slime Spitter Slug is very good. Beckoning Lumen's very good. Katra the Devoted is very good. Gaining life in general is strong in Eternal, when so much of the game is based on racing and really hitting hard and burn spells and that kind of things. So gaining life is a good thing. It's stronger in this game than in other games, and it's really strong right now when you see a lot of Stone Scar and you see a lot of Argenport that really just want to rush you down to 0. Every extra turn you make them try to kill you is better for you, because you play a better late game and you have more synergy and you have better top decks. So the fact that your synergy is based around things that are good anyway, which is gaining life, playing units, and having multiple units on the battlefield, are things you really want to be doing, period, and they work really well together individually. As opposed to, like, when I say individually, what I mean is every time you want to be playing 4 drops, you want to be gaining life, you want to be playing 5 drops. As opposed to Chalice, where you have to take a turn off to play the Chalice, or in Stone Scar, where you might have to play a bunch of 1/1s that don't do anything and you have to wait to draw the Queen, or take a turn off from attacking to play your Queen later. This deck doesn't run into those problems. Every play you make every turn is going to be a good play. And then as the game goes on, those plays work together in a way that is really, really hard to overcome. This deck has a lot of resilience, surprisingly, partly because your main synergy is gaining life, so you can see a lot of cards during the game. And it also has a strong, small side game of Reanimate with 2 Varas and 2 Dark Returns. Dark Return is really important to a Life Force strategy. I found this out playing Draft, because you have a few units that are really, really important, right? Like Ion the Abductor, Katra, Beckoning Lumen, and Slug. And as much as you... Oh, sorry. Let me just... sorry, guy. I can't talk to you right now. Yeah, hold on. Sorry. Can't talk right now. Doing a video for Numot. I just played against this guy in Chalice, and I beat him after he played 4 Harsh Rules on me. And he got down to like 20 cards left in his deck. So I basically beat his entire deck. But it required a lot of draws on my part, too. It was a very, very good game. Anyway. Let me say good luck to this guy. Good luck on the ladder. And then I'm going to remove him in case he keeps talking to me. I'll find him later. Anyway. A little behind the scenes action here. That's alright. Community is part of this game. You don't mind. The Vara... So the fact that you need a few units to really stick to the board makes Dark Return a lot better in this kind of deck as opposed to other decks, because the units you're getting back aren't just good units, but they really support the rest of the deck. And then the other side strategy is Vara. I mean, you can do... This deck doesn't necessarily want to get all the way to turn 8. I mean, if what you really want is for Katra to go unchallenged and just win the game a couple turns later. But Vara, combined with things like Slug, is just disgusting. I mean, never mind disgusting by the fact that it's a big giant slug. The fact that if you go Vara into Slug into something else, I mean, or just Vara, into a Katra into a Slug, I mean, it's really gross, really cool, kind of janky, wombo combo-ish, and it does come up. So we're gonna try that. The last thing to round out this deck is basically the removal package is standard except for extract. I think this card is criminally underplayed and constructed. I don't know why more shadow decks don't play with it. Probably because it has double shadow influence and it's a spell as opposed to a fast spell. But it does 3 damage to an opponent. It can, to a unit, and it lets you fix your draws. I mean, this card is so good. I do think it is kind of slow, and it's looks pretty silly against some things like Aegis or like Combrei Healers or Seraph. But when it's good, it is really, really, really good. And in this deck, even if it's only minor, I mean, it's totally reasonable to play this card as a 3 mana, gain 3 life, trigger a life force, and then fix your draw. That's a perfectly reasonable play with this deck. So this card is great, and I think this is another incentive to play this kind of strategy is you get to use it and really utilize it. So let's go ahead and go into the games. Now that we've had our little deck tech. This deck so far has been pretty good against aggro, pretty good against control, and it has a tough time with like armory. So this hand is an easy mulligan, even though we have Katra. Katra is not the first unit you want to play. You really want to play Katra like on turn like 5 or 6. You only want to play her on turn 4 if you have something else with life steal set up or somewhere to gain life. We don't have that, even though we have good mana and a removal spell. This hand's just not good enough. This hand is, I don't want to say much better. Having the Slug and the Dark Return in our opening hand is kind of unfortunate, but having Scribe and Titan is great. And again, having the Dark Return isn't terrible. I mean, we can really kind of play out our units frivolously because we can get whatever we need back, so that'll be great. And if we're playing against Skycrag as opposed to Stone Scar, a Dark Returned Titan is very hard to kill. But we are playing against Stone Scar, so yeah. Still not doing bad. We're matching our opponent for units. We have a turn 4 play, potential turn 5 play with like Dark Return Scribe if we want to. Oh man. Extract. When it's good, it's really good. We're just going to get rid of that now. I wanted to keep the board clean, and more importantly, I really want to fix my draws. We can take a hit from a queen. We're in no danger. There's no reason to attack here. A Flame Blast. Don't see that every day. We're going to go ahead and trade. So I think here we want to play the Titan. And then I think we are going to Dark Return one of our Scribes. So next turn we can go Banish and Scribe, or we could just play Slug. But, I mean, we don't really necessarily need to get this back right now. We have a lot of removal with another big unit. And playing this now so we can play 2 spells next turn is a big deal. Because if we have to just keep playing one unit a turn or one impactful spell a turn, we're going to fall behind pretty quickly. So I think this is well worth it. It's another blocker. We get some life back. We dig a little deeper. We have so many ways to combat aggro because we have our life gain, we have cheap removal, we have cheap units, and then we have bigger units, we have recursion. So there's a very good chance that we're going to run into a quick shot. The question is, how much do we care? I guess we do care. We will not block. We'll just take the 5 and go down to 20. And then next turn, we can play the Scribe and hold up Banish. Ooh. Well, we can't really do that right now. That would be kind of greedy. So what we can do is do this, and then we'll hold up Banish. And then next turn, if we want to block with the Titan, and our opponent decides to play Quick Shot, we can quickly banish the quick-shotted unit. And then on the following turn, we can either play another Titan or play Katra, and we should be able to take over the game from there. I mean, we're in pretty good shape already. Our opponent attacking with the Pyro Knight was slightly reckless. Ooh, we have a Torch. Yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah, let's Let's not lose our Titan and get a 2-for-1 with that banish. Oh. Oh, Extract. You are so good. If we really wanted to be greedy, we'd play Katra, but there's just no reason to. We don't want a Vara. And that would be the concession. Yeah, that was just a beating for our opponent. But this deck is very good against aggro because you have a lot of early interaction and your life gain is a very big deal. I mean, if you get a good draw like that, where you have your interaction and some early drops and then a Titan, I mean that's so hard for an aggro deck to deal with. And think about how good Extract is in that matchup. I mean, it's almost like a 3-for-1 because you kill their unit, you fix your draw, and you gain life, and they're trying to kill you quickly. It's just too good. Too good for words. So this is an interesting draw. It does have a good curve. It has our worst interactive spell, only because this costs 4. But it does have decent mana, and we're on the draw. And these are both really good. These are actually all good cards on the draw, so we're going to keep it. If we were going first, I would mulligan this hand, but going second, this hand gets a little better. Especially when we draw that. So what are we going to do? We're going to do... So that's our 4th mana. I guess because we don't have a turn 3 play, we'll hold the Seek Power till turn 3. And we really don't want to filter our deck of power cards right now because we want to draw power cards because we need to make sure we have plenty of mana to hit our bigger units and our Death Strike. So we can play the banner and play a little slower. And then, yeah, this time we will do this, and then we will do this. There's no reason to play the Wasp here. We're not really getting much from it. It's not blocking. Chipping in for 1 probably isn't going to matter that much. So trying to play it later as a decent blocker or as something to buff with Katra, I think is a little more important. So it looks like we're playing against Chalice again. So the main things in this matchup, I think, are Vara and Slime Spitter Slug and Dark Return, I think, are your best cards. So I kind of want to attack and see if our opponent plays a Desert Marshal. If they play a Desert Marshal, we can play Katra and try to see if we can use Vara's Favor next turn. We can play like Titan, Vara's Favor. We have to Vara's Favor, then play Titan. Yeah, that's not great. So maybe we just play Titan this turn. And then next turn, we can Vara's Favor and follow that into a Predatory Carnosaur. Yeah, that's not bad. Is there any reason to attack here? I guess we will. I want to see if he plays Desert Marshal. Nope, he has no fast spells. Okay, so there's a good chance that Katra might survive, which is a really big deal. So we're going to try it. If our opponent harsh rules, I'm totally okay with that. It's not a big deal. Ooh, no play. Well, that's very good for us. Let's go ahead and ping you for 1. If we really wanted to, we could Death Strike this guy and prevent our opponent from drawing. But I don't see the point when we can keep trying to gain life. And if our opponent does that, then they're not going to have any mana for a Harsh Rule. They're only going to have 3 mana. Like if they go to 5, pay 2, they go to 3, then we still start swinging for 6. And right now, we have the win on board. Like just Katra by herself will win the game. We don't need to really do much. So when you're in that kind of situation, it's really on your opponent to come up with the answer, which our opponent did not do. So we're going to go ahead and kill you and swing for 2. I always expect a Harsh Rule against Chalice, so it should be coming any moment. But we have good backup plans with one of our key cards in Vara. And we have a way to get rid of Chalice. No, that's too bad. But not the end of the world. Okay, what are we gonna do here? We can't just hold up banish, and we can't just banish the chalice. That's just not good enough. If our opponent plays a unit and uses chalice, let's say they play a power, they play a unit, and they use chalice. I mean, that's at least 2 mana. So if we leave our opponent the option to draw with chalice, we're only leaving them with 4 mana, and that's 4 mana to play a unit. So that's pretty good for us. So I think Titan's a pretty safe play here. Because the only way they could deal with Titan on their turn is if they have a Vanquish, a 2-drop, and then draw a card and a power. And that's asking a lot for our opponent's hand. If they have a Harsh Rule, then we can go ahead and play a Katra and wait to play Vara. So again, we're not gonna see a Harsh Rule here, and now we have a better opening next turn to play the Banish, which is exactly what we're gonna do. I do think we're gonna see another Islands choice here. Yeah, that's fine. Do I want to play the other Katra? I don't have any way to trigger her, but our opponent's only getting the 1 draw. 2 Islands choice and a Vanquish. A lot of spot removal. Haven't seen the Harsh Rule yet. I guess I still have Vara, so it's fine. We'll just play her as a 3/3. I think the worst card for us to see right now is like... Well, probably Harsh Rule, actually, to be perfectly honest. Ugh, that's unfortunate. There is a case to be made to use this on their face. Man, that silence was brutal. We also could kill both of these and hit them for 5. Yeah, that seems really unnecessary. Let's just... See, there's a lot of good targets for Extract. I mean, another Kothon is one, but we do really have to play this and fix our draw, so let's just go ahead and get rid of this. This clears the way for a double attack, and we will put that on top, because we are looking for mana. And our opponent is getting... Our opponent clearly does not have a Harsh Rule because they're using a lot of spot removal. So I think we are going to go ahead and play this Death Strike. We are just going to... No, we'll wait. We'll wait to do it on our opponent's turn. We'll see what they play. We'll see what they play. Because next turn we can play Vara and get the Wasp back, or we just get Katra back, which I think seems fine. I mean, you can use Death Strike to kill a different blocker if we need to. Yeah, like that. That's a good card to kill. So we're going to go ahead and attack. This is where if our opponent top decks the Harsh Rule, it's exactly... it exactly lives up to its name and is indeed a very, very Harsh Rule. Yeah, we'll play Katra. That's fine. Oh, no. Oh, thank God. Don't have it 1 time. Oh, that's not so bad. Our units are all so much better than our opponents, I don't really care about that. So what are they going to do here? So they silence Katra. So they go 1, 2... They go 1, 2, 3, 4. We kill one of these. And then you die here. We hit you for 3. You go to 6. Maybe we just attack with her. So they have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. I don't want to trade Katra for just 1 Curator. Uh-oh. That's not terrible for us, though. I mean, our opponent really has to draw something here. I mean, down to one card, our units way outclass theirs. Oh my god. Well, that was highly unfortunate. And this is a bad time to flood. But now we will attack with everything. Because now, if they block with Katra, to kill her, we at least get a 2-for-1. That's fine. We will... no, I don't think I need to play any power yet. I think the worst thing for us to deal with right now are things like Combre Healer and Lumen Defender. Those are really bad for us. Oh, that's not so bad. That kills both our opponent's units that were actually pretty decent. I mean, they had 2 3/6 flyers. It's really bad that we are flooding. We've drawn 3 straight power at a time when we really didn't need to draw power. We haven't drawn much. We haven't drawn like a Beckoning Lumen or, you know, Devour. This is not good. But we're at 25 life. And, you know, we have a lot of strong plays left. So this game is not over. I know that when you play against Chalice, this situation feels like it's over because they're drawing 2 cards a turn and you're not. But it really isn't. Now this is where the silence is just so brutal because if it wasn't for that, we could do some shenanigans with Vara. But getting a Carnosaur is not bad. This deck never ever runs out of cards. This is why people hate Chalice, because it's a stressful deck to play against because it never feels like you're playing against your opponent or like a skill level or decisions matter. You're really just playing against your opponent's card draw, which is basically like saying you're playing against your opponent's top decks. That's what it feels like to play against this deck. But it's really not that black and white. We'll go ahead and kill you. That I will take. So we know what we're going to draw, so we'll go ahead and do this and say go. Because now if our opponent wants to use Chalice, we might be able to attack with a 7/7. And you know, you have to dodge, I mean, just so much of your opponent's answers. I mean, this deck has nothing but cheap, efficient answers backed up with, you know, Harsh Rule and Channel the Tempest. I am a little worried about another Harsh Rule. I kind of want to wait on this Iron. I mean, we're at 20 life. We have no reason to really stress out about our opponent's ability to kill us. Ooh, that's pretty good though. Well, now we need to draw the Slug. That is not the Slug. But I will use your ability. Sadly, they're all silenced, especially when you get them back. This is 4, 8, 12. Yeah, we're going to be dead in a couple of turns here. I'm still going to swing. Well, it looks like we might be dead to the Great Parliament channel combo. Or not, strangely. Our opponent must be flooded. So yeah, we could top deck into Slug. That's pretty good. Or a removal spell here. Or a Sandstorm Titan, which is also pretty good. We go to 9, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we have to attack with Iron here. That way it puts us out of range of channel because we go to 9. Yeah, and then we play Titan. We can block all of these. It's not great, but I think we have to do it. We'll just play Titan. It's not likely this works. We can easily run into Channel the Tempest to kill Titan, Silence, Vanquish. This deck has a lot of answers, so it's not likely. Does seem likely we're about to get hit with the harsh rule. Or channel the Tempest to the face. Either way, it's not looking good for us. It's a pretty bold attack from our opponent. I'd be really surprised if they harsh ruled again. That doesn't seem good to me at all. I mean, we're in a position there where you could just play the Great Parliament and probably win. I mean, I guess that's pretty good too, but oh well. Not quite, not quite. That game really came down to, as so many games against Chalice does, is you get them down to low life, and then they have one final answer or one final roadblock, and then you start drawing power, and then your opponent just goes card draw spell, card draw spell, card draw spell, and then by the time you've reached, you've gotten through your flood to get to your real cards, your opponent's hand is filled with everything they need. But, I will say it's important, even though it does feel terrible, like while you're playing through those turns, it's important to play those turns out because you could see there we were not out of that game and we had ways to win. Like if we had drawn a Slime Spitter Slug instead of a Sandstorm Titan, we would have wiped their board, gained a bunch of life, forced them to play the harsh rule, and then bought ourselves a few more draws. It's not a perfect answer, but it's something. But that really, this is what makes Chalice such a frustrating deck to play against sometimes because you feel really under pressure to uh, start attacking their life total, attacking the board, trading resources because the longer the game goes, you are almost inevitably going to get buried in card advantage. But of course, when you overcommit or when you get too aggressive, Chalice can punish you so badly. It's kind of funny. Like Chalice is like just that perfect card advantage control deck because you have an aggro deck like Argenport that's going to punish you for not playing cards for missing a draw or missing a power. You know what I mean? Whereas Chalice punishes you for playing cards because the more cards you play in the early game, the more vulnerable you are, and then they inevitably will have more card draw. Still, it's not really, the games against Chalice are not as pre-decided as they feel. It's just that if you're playing against a really good and experienced Chalice player, or you're experimenting with a deck kind of like I am, those turns where they're just drawing cards and you're not doing anything but trying to sift through your draw, it just feels terrible. So I guess we're playing against Argenport Cambrai. I am just going to run out of Katra here for lack of other options. This is a really bad draw for this deck, actually. Because you don't have any synergies, you don't have any removal, you have no card draw, and you have, two of your really strong units, but not two of your strong units if you have nothing else going on. Like, you never want to have a Katra on the board for no reason. And right now we have her on the board for no reason because we have nothing else to play. Valkyrie Enforcer. That's fine. It's not great, but it's fine. Ooh, that's not bad. How greedy do we want to be? I think we want to be pretty greedy here. I think our draw is pretty lackluster. And Valkyrie Enforcer will find the way suggest that we're playing against a control deck that is harsh rule. Valkyrie Enforcer implies it might be more of a control deck. It could be both. I mean, not control deck. I'm sorry. Like mid-range deck. It could be both though. How badly do we want Katra? I don't really mind. You kind of start to realize that Katra is a really, really great payoff card, but not something you can hold. It's such a hard synergy to set up that can be punished so badly if you wait for the right draws or if your opponent just harsh rules your board anyway. Better just to kind of play pretty aggressive with Katra and see if it gets there, because if she gets there, it's really hard to lose. So yeah, this does look like a control deck to me. So I want to draw like Beckoning Lumen, which would have been great, by the way, against that last game with Chalice, but we didn't get there. I guess Extract is pretty good here. Vara's not bad. If the meta switches back to a lot of these control decks, you know, you could easily turn this deck into a more late game and play like, you know, all four Varas if you want, because Vara is very good with your early game. I mean, your early game trades very favorably, Iron and Blistering Wasp, and then if you get them back, pretty good. So it's tempting to hold the Slug and see if we can catch our opponent overextending with extra Valkyrie Enforcers or even a Great Parliament. And I could just play Carnosaur and kill the Seraph. That feels pretty bad. Let's see. I think we want to save this in case our opponent plays a Mokto, which they probably don't have, but they would have played it last turn. So we played Predatory Carnosaur. That leaves us vulnerable to Harsh Rule. But that's about it. Yeah, I guess we'll just hold back. I don't think we have reason to play anything here. We're not going to break through for any damage this turn, so anything we commit to the board right now is just really vulnerable to answers from our opponent. And we have some really strong swing plays of our own if our opponent overcommits. And at any moment, if you know we're getting close to turn 8, we could drop the Carnosaur and kill Seraph. Not to mention we do have 3 Banish and 3 Death Strike. Sandstorm Titan. Okay. Another Katra. I'm not big on wasting the third one for no reason when now we're at a late enough stage in the game we can go like Katra and Varus Favor or like Katra and Extract and actually get the immediate benefit. I think I am going to kill this Seraph though. Can't really beat that very effectively. So we'll say go. At least now if our opponent harsh rules, we get a Titan. But our opponent could have a similar draw as us with just like a few of their utility units and a lot of power without a lot of interaction. Which means it's better for us if they feel forced to commit to the board before we do. Sure. Another Wasp. I guess I could play another Wasp. That's fine. Great blocker. I really want to try to get Slug onto a Mokto. Because Mokto is hard to deal with. Ooh, a Dark Return. Yeah, that's pretty good. Could use it on the Slug, though. Also a good play. I mean, how much do I really care about this Titan here? I mean, I could get back the Carnosaur, kill the Titan, right? And swing with the whole board for 8. Or I could play Slug and kill you and attack for 2 and leave the Slug back. Or I could play Katra, and if our opponent harsh rules, we can Dark Return the Katra back. That's also not bad. If our opponent doesn't have an answer for Katra, then next turn we can just go off. You know what? This is a video. We're going to try to go off here. That's also the best play. It is the highest reward play, and we don't get punished that much because we still have Slug and Dark Return, which are two of our better units. I mean, Katra is kind of a win more card, so this game is at a state where we need to win more. We need to really have a nice swing play because our opponent may or may not be sitting on a harsh rule, and we just can't play around it for too much longer and really force the issue here. Because if our opponent does play a harsh rule, they go down to 2 cards, and they're going to be top decking just as bad as we are. But as we said in the deck tech, we have really good top decks, and we also have a Dark Return to get back whatever we may need. Okay, we're doing it. We are doing it. What is this fast spell? Must be Annihilate? No, it can't be Annihilate. Well, maybe it's Annihilate. Maybe it's a Death Strike? No, it can't be. No, not Death Strike. I'm going to guess Annihilate. Or it might be a Desert Marshal. Not quite sure what our opponent is doing here. Stand Together. Ooh, that's kind of janky. That was a good plan. I just want to put that out there. That was a good plan. Didn't work out, but it was a good plan. Oh well. Alright. That's kind of cute. Our opponent is welcome to get back a silenced Seraph, which we are most definitely going to kill with this Dark Return. Well, maybe not. I guess we'll kill the Titan. Wow, are you really going to do that? He is going to do that. No problem. If our opponent attacks with the Titan, I'm going to block with the Slug and one of our silenced Katras. And then we can Dark Return the Slug back, which is pretty good. Nope. Let's just do this. And let's do this so we can not draw power or have a less chance of drawing power next turn. And I guess we'll get rid of the one with Aegis. Yeah, I'm not thrilled about that. I gotta be honest. And I think we'll attack with these two and hit our opponent for 4. It's not great. Could just attack with the Slug. I mean, everyone gets pumped again. And we trade with the biggest unit. Yeah, that seems fine. Could also ace. Well, if we don't want to attack with this Katra, so we attack with these 3 blocks here. Well, no, probably trades here. Maybe double blocks and trades, but then we still have this Katra, which pumps our Carnosaur. That seems pretty good to me. I don't see much point in waiting. I definitely want to attack either with this. So if we attack with both of these blocks, double blocks, I think I still get this trigger, right? I guess we'll find out. But our opponent's got 1 power, 1 card in hand. We have the overall bigger units, so this is a good chance to attack with a bigger one holding back and with an engine ready to go. Okay, that's fine too. Interesting. We might, well, I don't know what we're going to run into, but we're going to attack with both of these, force a block somewhere. We should probably play the Iron first just to pump her. Yeah, I think that's fine. Although, this is probably better. No, this is better on our opponent's turn. We're going to do this and this. Yeah, we'll do this. Sure. Sure. Oh, maybe not. Oh, okay. That's fine too. Yeah, it's not an easy block. And then next turn we can just use Iron to get it back. Yeah, that seems good. Okay. See, this is that surprise factor because our opponent doesn't know what we could have. And it's kind of weird, right? Because we have an ambush unit that seems like a fast spell. Yeah, it's not an easy block. I think the if I was our opponent, the best block, yeah, I would double block the slug. I would block here and chump block there. Yeah, I'd probably do it like this. Oh no, I wouldn't do it like that. I would have. Oh well. Well, now we have two giant units. Oh, Slay. Yeah, that's pretty good. Let's go ahead and play an Iron. Ooh. Do I have anything worth dark returning? This? Nah, we'll wait for that. We will use your ability. And I will get back, I guess a Katra. Like, now that I have dark return, I kind of want to keep those both in there. And we are quite ahead here, so... All it took was the third Katra. Oh no. I didn't get a chance to emote. I was too busy choosing which sweet thing to say. 2-1. Doing well, doing well. Might get to Masters yet. I've played a lot of brews last week getting ready for this video, so I really like tanked my Diamond 1 ranking. It's been back and forth. It's been like 3 wins, 2 losses, 5 losses, 4 wins kind of thing. But here we are, doing all right, 2-1. Got 7 more games to go. This deck plays slower games than I thought it would. Mainly because we're playing against so many control grindy decks. Well, at least 2 grindy, 1 aggro. Oop. Got some kind of a mirror match here. Although I doubt they're doing exactly what I'm doing. This hand's okay. The fact that we have Iron into Titan makes it a lot better. Otherwise, this hand would be a lot of like high investment units without much of a fallback plan if they get answered. Twinning Ritual. Oh my god, we're playing against Clock Roaches. The Shadow Roach deck from a long time ago. That's a deck I don't know how good we are against. I suppose if they all get flying, but they don't get Aegis, and we can slug the board, that'd be pretty cool. It's not likely, but it'd be cool. I am going to go ahead and play Iron. Oh, we did it. Sometimes you just do it. Question is it worth sacrificing our abductor for? What's the removal on this deck? Permafrost is big, and I feel like that's it. I'm going to go ahead and play Katra, and I'm going to hold back. Because Permafrost doesn't really do anything here. Oh, a Surso. Man, that's not a big deal. Oh my. Oh me, oh my. Oh, this would be so good next turn. We're always going to do this. Oh, man. Could also just play Titan and pass. Like, we can play Titan and let our opponent attack with Surso, and then next turn go Death Strike in Varro's favor. Ugh, that would be so good. We could run into a Predator's Instinct, though. And he gets Killer like a Xenan Initiation, and that would be really, really bad. So I think we just kill Surso. And I guess we just attack with Iron. Like, why not? And next turn, if we draw power, we can go Titan, Vara's Favor. Or we can just do Vara's Favor. So I think we just do that. Although I'm not loving this play. I guess it's fine. We get a 2-for-1. She becomes a 4-4. Yeah, not loving that play. Another Surso. And we cannot banish him. Yeah, that's too bad. Need to draw that Death Strike. Ooh, Surso's going to be a problem. I am running 3 Death Strikes, though, for Tavrod mostly, but Surso is also a good target for that. But since you can't fight against Surso, he's quite the threat. Ooh, but I'll take that free attack, yeah. No problem. Was this 2? We have to do this, 3, 4, 5. I guess we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, let's do that. We'll just go ahead and kill you. And hit for 11. Sure. If only there was some way to give Surso flying. Then we could try to kill it with the slug. Another Surso. Well, I don't know if we're going to run into a Crystallize or not, but we can sit back pretty comfortably because we have a lot of life gain in this deck. That would be good, but it's not. Let's do this, and let's do this. Okay. We will do this. I guess we just A-space here. God, we take 14 on the swing back. That's pretty rough. We hit for 10. We go to 6. That's kind of rough. I think we just do it. Be interesting to see what unit he decides to block. Okay. I've got an angry cat behind me. Sorry about that. Yeah, if he doesn't block Katra. So let's see. We could play Devour here. Yeah, I think that's probably worth it, just so she doesn't become a pig. And then yeah, hit for 10, and try not to die. Sure. Ooh, permafrost. It's kind of annoying. Sure. Two. Ugh, Surso is really bad for this deck. 3 Sursos is too many. Yeah, the 20 Ritual, the Surso, and Dark Return. So our opponent only drew 1, but drew 2 ways to copy. That kind of stinks. And you don't have flying. So one thing I could do is play Slug and gain a life. That's kind of funny. How are we gonna win this game? I guess we win this game if we don't die next turn and we draw a removal spell. God, extract would be really good here. So I think we can't even kill the Surso. I don't think we can win. I guess we can attack with this. And then we kill you. Oh, it doesn't work. Oops. Oh, I'm too busy talking. It didn't matter. Our opponent had to remove a spell anyway. We weren't getting out of that. Ugh, Surso is good against us. Surso's just good in mid-range in general. I got so distracted by other things. I guess we did want to draw into the Death Strike. And I don't think we had many other options there. Going first, this hand is okay. I'd like a little more interaction, like a little more units, like a Wasp or something. But the thing is, if we're playing against aggro, this hand is really good because we can go Vara's favor. But this hand is basically what, 5 power, and then a 6-drop, so that's not very good. Oy, Surso. Surso's very good against us. Surso's just good in general. It's possible this deck wants to lean heavier on Death Strike and less on Banish. It does seem like we're having a harder time interacting with the mid-range late game decks as opposed to like the lower to the ground decks. Since we have more lower to the ground units like Wasp, Iron, Extract, things like that. So it's very possible that we need to have our removal be more focused for units that are hard to deal with, like Surso. We're probably going to run into a Torch if we do this, since our opponent's playing Skycrag and they haven't played anything. But what's the other alternative if we don't play Iron? Is there any way that Iron's going to get the hit? Maybe. We'll wait. Oh, that was a very good draw. But I'm still going to do nothing. This way, if our opponent uses all their influence to play like a 3-drop or a 4-drop, there's a chance that we get to hit with Iron and draw a card, which is exactly what happened. So I'm happy about that. Yay for Becky, drawing cards. I'll just go ahead and attack. Extract? Oh my god, we did it. That was great. What removal does our opponent have? That's not going to quite do it. If they have, well, no, I guess if they have a Torch, that would stink. Sure. But this is where Extract is just so brutal. Like, so brutal. Yeah, that would be good, but it's not. Banish. Yeah, I'll take a Banish. And do we want to get a 2-for-1? Nah, I don't think so. And we'll say go. I'm just gonna let our Lumen be our engine, and we'll just slowly draw into our better units and overcome our opponent here. Sure. Oh man, this draw is just not fair for our opponent. And we'll swing for... Nah, we'll hold you back. Oh yeah, we didn't get to gain a life. Yeah, that's okay. Sure. No, that's fine. Wow, that's just really good. Oh, I should have played the slug. Oh well. How much am I afraid of Soulfire Drake? I guess not very afraid, because I can hit for 12. And now I'm really not afraid. Vadius is pretty good, especially with our opponent having 7 mana. But, not good enough. Wow, just gonna take it. That's not a bad play from our opponent. I mean, they're playing an aggro deck. But now we have 3 lethal threats. I don't see how you can be out of this with 2 cards. Yay, 3-2. So that's interesting. I wonder if I want to make that change now that we're at the halfway point. Let's think about this. Let's take a look at the deck really quick. See what we got. Because the aggro matchup is pretty good. So I could easily see cutting an extract for a 4th Death Strike, just to deal with problematic units like Cerso. Although I kind of think 3 is pretty good. I mean, we already are kind of heavy on 4s anyway with 8. And even though we do seem to really want Death Strike every game, I don't know if it's worth cutting some of these other removal spells, you know? And generally speaking, Death Strike, there are a few situations where Death Strike is just, can do something that Carnosaur cannot. But maybe there's something to be said for just leaning hard on unconditional removal. And we go up to 4 Death Strike and maybe cut like maybe one of the Devours. Maybe we don't want 2 Devours. Maybe just 1 Devour. It's possible. We do seem to have few and far between targets for it, so we could try that. That makes our deck a little more expensive, but a little more powerful, and does give us another out against, like, if that Devour was a Death Strike in that last game, then that would probably be pretty good. So I guess we'll try it. I'm still keeping 1 Devour because this deck is pretty light on card draw, and Devour can just be a great way to turn what could be a blowout removal spell into just, an unequal exchange of resources. And the life gain is relevant to this deck, so I don't mind playing a 1-of. If we were on the draw, this hand would be a lot better. On the play, it's way too slow. I mean, if our first play is Banish, then we have to top deck into the Titan. I mean, our first play can conceivably just be Titan into removal into, like, nothing. So we're going to redraw this. If I was going second, though, and had that extra card draw, then I would probably keep it. This hand, though, is much better. And here's our Death Strike. We'll see if this would be better as a Devour. Since we're going first, it probably is, but I'm sure we'll find a use for it.